Hey guys, this is Jen here, and I just wanted to share about my Nasm experience and also give you guys a little bit of tips along the way, so then you could also be able to get that little piece of paper that says congratulations after the end of your test. So let me start by saying that I started with the 6th edition of the Nasm book and went through the self-study. They give you different modules and you follow the modules and you read the chapters that are related to the modules. It gives you activities, it gives you quizzes and different challenges that you can be able to learn the material. I highly suggest too that you go to fitnessmentors.com and print off, it's for free, this print off. They also have different packages that you can get for a study guide and different quizzes to help you on the exam. They didn't help me as much as what I thought that they would, but this little blue sheet of paper definitely did. It broke things down a little bit. The 5 secrets to passing your Nasm Cpt exam. One thing that Nasm is very, very strong on and what they teach is the OPT model. And so that's broken down into 5 phases. And so you'll have to know each of those 5 phases. You'll have to know the reps, the sets, the intensity, the rest period, and the tempo for each one of those. Seems like a lot, but if you write them down, I have found that if you say them and you write them and you say them again, that it'll end up sticking somewhere in there. Not only the reps, sets, intensities, rest period, and tempos for that, but also on page 287, and I'm going to emphasize this because I should have studied this a lot more, the plyometric training program design. You need to know the plyometric sets, reps, tempos, and rest time. So for stabilization, for strength, and for power. So in stabilization, you have 1 to 3 sets, you have 5 to 8 reps, and your rest time is 0 to 90 seconds. These are going to be different than your ones on here. So just make sure that you know those. Did I say that? Make sure that you know those. Another big thing that you need to learn is the overhead squat assessment, single leg assessment. All of the assessments that are in the book, read them, go over them, see which muscles are overactive or which muscles are underactive. You're not going to just have to know and memorize that. You have to be able to apply that. And no matter which YouTube video I watched that said that, I still did not get that into my head that that was important. I took the test and realized how important that was. Nasm does not want you just to memorize what is overactive and what is underactive. They want you to be able to apply it. So if your hip flexor is overactive, why is it overactive and what can you do to relieve that? If you have an underactive muscle, what can you do to strengthen that because it is weak? So know that if you see weak, if you see underactive, they mean the same thing. If you see overactive, then you know what you need to do with that. So not even memorizing it, but being able to apply it. Okay, you've been told. Also know Davies test, shark test, the bench press test. Push-up test was not on there. Definitely know David's test is upper body. I was thinking David and Goliath, he had the slingshot, it's upper body. A shark test, if you're in the water, then your lower part's in the water, shark, lower. So anything that you can get to memorize that. Also, whenever you're learning the overactive and underactive muscles of excessive forward lean, the arms falling forward, I'll tag a video below that really helped break that down. She's amazing, and I follow her on Instagram too, and she very inspirational, and there's key concepts of how she memorized that, so I'll tag that below. Also, a thing to be looking at is Nasm has a study guide. If all of a sudden you are cramming and you're down to like the last month before your test and there's just not enough time to keep reading through all of your book and tabbing everything and remembering everything, Nasm does have a study guide that they offer that you can print off, and it breaks it down into domains and it compresses all the information that was in the book into just a few pages versus, 600 plus pages. So that kind of helps too. One thing that, let me find one, there we go. Okay, I have a lot of tabs in my book because they said, did you know, you see that? The did you know tabs, those are super, super important. I went through this entire book and tabbed each one of those and read over it. How many times do we just kind of scan over the chapters and not even see those tabs off to the side? There are several questions in the test that I have found that were worded from those little did you know blurbs. So if that's any help, make sure that you go through. You don't have to tab, 100 tabs like I did, but I wanted to be able to find them and review them and everything else. Also, one thing that I did is sit and highlighted all of the stuff in the book that, was stuff that I knew that would probably be standing out. One thing that I recommend that I didn't do is get out a notebook and be able to write those things down. And then that way you can trigger on just like a little section that you might not know what that definition is or where that muscle is. So you can do a little arrow that says this muscle is here or this muscle is distal from this muscle, and be able to know the difference if it's posterior, anterior. And that way, if you're writing it, then you're physically being able to look at it and write it and say it and then be able to apply it a little bit easier. I'm thinking, flexion, extension. You're gonna have to know if your head is going down, if your head is coming back, what is it doing? There's a couple different charts in the book that go over those. Let's see, eccentric, concentric movements, make sure that you know those. The tempo and reps of all of the OPT and also plyometric again. Go over that again. Planes of motion. There are the planes of motion that you need to know. Is it's sagittal? Is it transverse? Know which exercises that you do while you're in those planes of motion, not just that you're bending forward or that you're going side to side or that you're lunging side to side. What are the actual exercises that are applied to those planes of motion? I'm trying to think what else. So many questions in there were in regards to applying what you have learned. So if you're foam rolling your hip flexor, then is it distal from this muscle? Or if you are looking at a overhead squat assessment, do you need to look from the lateral view or from the anterior view if the shoulders are moving? Or if the knees, are you looking at the knees? Are you looking from the interior or from the lateral? So just make sure that you cover those. Really dwell into each definition, be able to recognize it. You don't really have to know it word for word, but just know how it's used, and that would really help. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd be happy to help you. The test was hard, I'll be honest with you. It was really hard. But they give you 120 questions. You need to get a 70% or higher. And just take a deep breath. Don't get overwhelmed. Walk in with your head held high. Know that you've studied and that you've put the time into it. This is not one of those tests that you can just walk in and say, hey, I'm going to ace it without even going over all of the book and the study guide. There is very complicated questions in there, so you need to be able to take the time to really review and to know the stuff. So good luck, and if I can do anything to help, comment below.